Hi guys, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Going well. Thank you so much, Emma. Okay, so we have Riaz, Monica, Rampam, Hema, and Sally. Okay, great. Okay, nice to meet you all. So today, um, not sure you guys attended the ARIBA demo or not, right? Did you guys attend or watch a video, something like that?
No, Manish.
No.
So you guys are like brand new. So that's
Yes.
Hema. How about other guys, Monica and Riaz and everybody else?
Yeah, this is the first time for me. I didn't attend any of them.
Okay. Okay, some of you, I think most of you guys haven't attended any demo either, looks like. Okay. Okay, so if you guys haven't attended a demo, then there is no harm in, if you are interested, just knowing a little bit about Ariba, various modules, and then going to our session one. I was just looking at the names. I know Sujata has attended a demo before, so I just know that she has been here before. But other folks, I'm not sure. So let me screen share. We'll spend about 10 minutes on SAP Ariba, what the system is all about, very high level, and then we'll go to our session one for today, which is going to focus on sourcing. SAP Ariba, quick overview. It is a cloud based procurement solution. What do you mean by procurement? You might wonder. Procurement is it is the end to end process involved in source to contract process or S2C process. Therefore, since Ariba supports the end to end process or procurement, since Ariba supports the end to end procurement process, it has the below modules, which is going to be also the topic of our discussion for various sessions we are having. Sourcing module, contracts module, buying module, invoicing module. So these four modules are purely end-to-end source to contract. Sourcing, contracting, buying, invoicing. Right? There is also a module called SLP module, which is supplier master data management, and supplier risk module. This, as the name says, is supplier risk management. So this is our topic of our overall training, right? Or various topics. These are just modules. Of course, there is a number of features in each of the modules, and we'll talk about all those features as we discussed about various modules. This module does have a good market, guys, right now, right? I mean, this overall solution or Ariba in general. Um, there are projects happening in the I guess various countries. I know India for sure. Um, it's pretty hot right now. Like whenever we get candidates, they are basically getting job interviews already, and that's when they join the training session, right? You guys could be in India or other countries, but generally speaking, the market is good, right? In terms of the demand. That's what I meant to say. So source to or S2C process is as noted below. Conduct sourcing, to identify a supplier that can supply you goods or services, create contract with the supplier identified in step 1, create a purchase requisition with the contracted supplier, create a purchase order, receive the purchase order or PO, then invoice the purchase order, and then payment. This is source to contract process, broadly speaking. There are 7 steps, right? So as the name says, sourcing module supports the sourcing process, contracts module supports the contracts process, the buying module supports the PRPO receive process, invoicing module supports the invoicing process, and SLP supplier risk module, they are mainly about supplier data. Broadly speaking, this is how it is. Since today's session 1, our focus is going to be sourcing module, right? So session 1 focus is SAP Ariba sourcing module. Let's start with an example. A large multinational organization has Ariba sourcing module implemented, right? That's why we are talking about this large organization. And this, let's call it ABC. ABC has a need of 10K laptops of different specs to be supplied in all the countries it operates over the next 5 years, right? Do you guys think creating a PO for 10,000 laptops is going to be the right approach for company ABC to meet their need of 10,000 laptops? Any thoughts? Do you think PO is the right way to meet this need of 10,000 laptops? Any thoughts is fine, right or wrong.
Sorry, Manish, we didn't got your question.
Question is, company ABC needs 10,000 laptops over next 5 years, right? And they operate in multiple countries, so the needs are going to vary by country. Um, but broadly speaking, 10,000 laptops are needed. Do you think creating a PO is a good starting point for this company to
Manish,
procure these 10,000 laptops? We need to
we
source,
need to
exactly,
source.
right? Exactly, and that's what I was looking to hear, right? As Kiran mentioned, until you source these laptops, right? It's a pretty big number. If you need to buy 2 laptops, 3 laptops, great. Send a PO to any supplier. They'll deliver to you, and you're fine. 10,000 is a pretty big number. Let's do quick maths. If one laptop is, let's say, 1,000, um, 1,000 USD, right? 10,000 is going to be how much, right? So we can say approximate spend is equal to 10,000 times 1,000. This is how many zeros? It's 10 million, right? If I get the numbers right. Yeah, it's 10 million USD. Pretty significant. Plus, you're not looking to buy laptops today. Plus, you don't even know exact specs of which location need how many laptops, right? So this is a very complex procurement in the sense that it is not as simple as buying 2 laptops or 3 laptops. And given that is the scenario, right? As Kiran mentioned, the idea is to conduct sourcing. Sourcing is the right approach to start instead of just creating a PO. Because big companies, they have big needs, long-term needs. One could argue that what is the need of sourcing? Whenever you need 10,000 laptops, let's say you need 5 today, 10 tomorrow, 15 the day after, whichever country you need, just go to Amazon and buy them, right? Or just go to any retail store and buy those laptops. That's it, right? That's not how the big companies work, though, right? If you have worked with any large company, you probably know that in order to get something like a laptop, you cannot shop on your own, right? You will probably go through your IT department, right? Or you will most likely you're going to go through your IT department, like log a ticket, and then they will see what your need is. They will even assess your current laptop, what's wrong, and all that, right? Similarly, if the large companies hiring 500 people, all of them need laptops, then they will have to buy all 500 in one shot, right? Sometimes they want to stock some extra to make sure that there is backup laptops and all that, right? So it's not as simple. There are many moving variables. In that case, sourcing is the right approach, right? Here, the correct, or let's ask the question first. What is the correct approach to procure this large and complex need of company ABC? Sourcing is the correct next, correct first step so that the company ABC can get the right prices, warranty terms, return policies, etc. Right? So I mentioned few things. I mentioned prices and I mentioned some other factors like warranty and return policies. Some of the other factors could be, can you really sell me 10,000 laptops? Do you even have that much capacity? What if you are one small shop and you can only sell me 5 laptops, right? But 10,000 is like you have never done it ever in your life. Like how much your experience is in selling this kind of volume to companies like us, right? Um, so in when you do sourcing, what you call price is the price. But what are the other factors? They are called qualitative factors, or sometimes they are called technical factors, right? So there is pricing, and then there is qualitative or technical factors, right? Quantitative, qualitative. That's the way you look at sourcing, very broadly speaking, because this understanding is going to help us out when we look into the ARIBA system to see how the sourcing works. Do you guys understand the basics? Any questions on this? Okay, no questions. Now, one might wonder if you guys understand what sourcing means. There is a term called RFP or tender. RFP is request for proposal, or tender basically means same thing. And if you have worked in IT, you probably know a little bit about what RFP means, right? Or what a proposal means. RFP can be conducted without any system, by the way. Right? If a company has no system like ARIBA, they can still conduct RFP. Right? So which means that to conduct RFP or to conduct sourcing, you really don't need a system. You can work in Word document, Excel files, emails, right? Um, but by doing all that, there is a drawback, right? Any thoughts on what that drawback can be of using Word documents, Excel files, emails? Okay, let me
Access
put down the
ample of
question.
files,
Sorry, Kiran, could you come again?
multiple times of ample of files, and we need to store lots of data.
And that data is going to be stored where? Like if you have to store a lot of data, where will that data be stored?
Number of multiple databases. We need
Databases
to
or
Database.
folders, right?
Yes, yes.
Or local drives, right? So question is, if a company, if company ABC can conduct sourcing without any systems, or in other words, use emails, Word documents, file folders, shared drives, Excel files to conduct sourcing, then why will they benefit from Ariba? And this is the key question which many large companies have asked themselves, right? Our SAP Ariba sales team have asked them this question, right? And answer to this question have led them to implement systems like SAP Ariba. SAP Ariba is a leading system in the market when it comes to sourcing management, right? If ERP systems like SAP, Oracle, and so on, they lack this functionality, which is called sourcing. That's why this area or of sourcing is like little unexplored by a lot of large companies, right? So they conduct their day-to-day basis, PRPO, right? Some procurement, inventory, whatever, right? Then what they have realized is actually our sourcing is quite a mess. It's very unorganized. We don't know where our proposals are. Even if we know there is no consistency between proposals, there is no reporting, right? So, and these questions have led them to think about the benefits of Ariba sourcing, right? So, what are the benefits? All data will be in one system, which is SAP Ariba. Reporting capability, compliance, or consistency in the sourcing process. Like if I'm, let's say I'm one person doing sourcing, and Kiran is one more person doing sourcing, and Hema is another person doing sourcing. All of us do sourcing using this method of files, folders, you know, emails. We all have our own way of managing. There is no standard process which we can follow, and there is no consistency in what we're doing, more or less. Maybe we are using same folder, right? Shared drive, and we are creating our own folders, right? But the process consistency lacks. And even if we work hard to maintain consistency, there will be some gaps, right? That's what really is going to happen. And then on top of that, reporting capability is not there. Then you will find that some data is in emails, like email responses will be in emails, right? Some data is going to be in shared drives, and probably some data is going to be on your laptops, right? So no reporting, data all over the place, and inconsistent process. And companies like ABC, these large companies, right? Multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar companies. They have another thing, something called audit. A lot of countries in the world, right? They audit the big companies for their compliance with the sourcing regulations, right? Now you might wonder why that is the case. To maintain competition in the market. Like let's say I'm a large, very large retailer, right? I have my preferred vendor. I'm gonna always buy my cereal from them. What is that gonna do? Any other small vendor who is providing cereal, they're gonna be out of the market, right? This is where large governments will intervene and say that you got to maintain competition. You got to justify why you want to buy from this large cereal vendor, right? And they want to look at all your data. They want to look at your reports. They want to look at your processes, your practices of sourcing. And if they are not met, then they can put you in the jail as well. This has happened in many countries in the world. Try Googling, right? And you will find something on that. So this is where systems like ARIBA come in place, and then they see that hey, we'll make your audit easier as well, right? Other benefit is auditing is simplified. This last point itself is a big motivation for large companies. Even if you forget about the first three benefits, the last benefit, one audit successful, billions of dollars saved from fines, right? Um, or many hours saved in data analysis every year, probably every sourcing you've done in the past, then there is a lot of benefit and time saving as well. Then you can say user experience, new system, cloud procurement, modern technology and all that. You can throw that in as well, right? So user experience is better. Um, right. Modern solution capabilities, new features that come out multiple times in a year. Right? So when a big company like ABC, they know that all these benefits are coming, they will say that, hey, spending $1 million on implementing Ariba sourcing is just fine. It makes sense to me. Now, given that you guys have that context, let's look into our SAP Ariba system and talk more about SAP Ariba sourcing module. Some things you guys got to wrap in your head when you work in Ariba and sourcing. Let's talk about that first. So I call it key terminologies linked to Ariba sourcing. First is there is a word called sourcing event in Ariba. As we go into the system, we'll use it very often. Right? So what is sourcing event? Sourcing event is nothing but RFP, RFI, auction, or you can say various types of sourcing processes that Ariba supports is nothing but sourcing event. And these are RFI, RFP, auction. Now question is, what is RFI? Anybody wants to try? RFI, RFP, and auction. Anybody wants to explain? Please feel free.
It's like request for information, so like RFI. So if we don't know a lot about what we actually need, so it's basically gathering more information and then moving on.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Gathering more market information for your um, goods, services, and prospect suppliers. Right? So laptops is something which is very easy to relate with in our example, right? That's why I used laptop. But what if you're not looking at laptops? What if you're looking into implementing a new technology? Like let's say you want to implement SAP Ariba sourcing itself, right? Then you are new to the system. You might be a big company. You might have been in the business for a long time, but you might not know what ARIBA sourcing is all about. What are the various suppliers who can implement for you ARIBA sourcing, various SIs in the market, right? Their experiences and everything. That's when you will conduct RFI, which is you're going to reach out to, let's say, 10, 15 odd suppliers. You will get information from them about their experiences, about their methodologies, and you will see that, let's say, out of those 10, 15 suppliers, I find that 5 are the ones which are more relevant for this particular um, ARIBA implementation, right? In that case, you will filter down your 15 list to 5 suppliers, right? So you can say the idea is to explore the market, to reach out by reaching out, sorry, by reaching out to a fairly large number of suppliers to understand which might be better for you to engage in RFP, which is pricing and qualitative factors. So one thing worth noticing, RFI has no prices. Right? You're not looking for prices, you're looking for just information. And if that is the case, what is RFP? Any thoughts?
So when we have gathered all this information, so RFP would be request for purchase, so that once we finalize everything, and then we select few buyers, and then we go ahead, and then we set up like a bid.
It's exactly a bidding thing, but just small correction. It's request for proposal, not purchase.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Uh,
yeah.
request for proposal. Here you will connect with selected. So when I say selected, let's say 4 or 5 suppliers to identify the best supplier in terms of pricing and technical factors, right? So one key difference is RFP will involve pricing, RFI will not involve pricing. RFI is basically market research, RFP is pricing, but also at the same time understanding what the supplier's other capabilities are other than pricing, right? So let's say there is a supplier, they give you out of 10,000 laptops, they say that I'll give you 10,000 laptops, but I'm very new in business. You're my first customer. My pricing is very low, right? Then second supplier says that, hey, my pricing is genuine, but I'm doing this business for the last 20 years, right? Naturally, you want to go for the second one, although price is high. That's a simple way to understand that. Auction. Any thoughts? Auction is a next step to RFP and used in, I would say, certain industries. Not very common in all industries, but some industries they will be used. Like mining auctions are used more frequently. Um, they will say that we are buying goods which are very generic, right? Um, for a moment, let's think laptop is a very common commodity. More or less, it is. Yeah, more or less, laptop is a very common thing. A lot of big companies are producing laptops, right? We see that through RFP, we found 2 suppliers who are very good in terms of technical factors, who have given us pricing, which is the lowest pricing out of these 4 or 5 suppliers. But given our understanding of the industry, we can squeeze in more or better pricing or lower pricing from one of these suppliers. So we want to do a pricing competition between these 2 suppliers. So that's basically what auction is, right? So this is auction from the buying perspective. This is not auction from selling perspective, right? So you're looking to buy things at the lowest price. You're not selling things at the highest price. That's where auction is. If you guys have a question, let me know, okay? Here, the primary criteria is pricing, typically done after RFP in certain industries. Logically thinking for a minute, large company ABC. Let me ask you guys, they are buying 10,000 laptops, right? They are probably using laptops already. They have probably bought laptops in the past already. They have worked with different suppliers who give them laptops. They have good market understanding, right? So buying a laptop of this volume for company ABC is not really a new gig, right? Something they have done in the past already. And if that is the case, what do you guys think they should do? Which sourcing event is suitable for them, most suitable for them? You can take a minute to think if you want, no rush. Just read through this and try to respond to the question. If you don't get the question, let me know. Okay, let me explain you if you guys don't want to try or don't understand. RFP is the right option or the right step. The reason is they don't need to understand the market more. They already understand the market. They have been buying laptops in the past for decades. This is just a new need for them because typically what happens is in end-to-end process for sourcing, we put a few steps here. Conduct sourcing, identify a supplier, then create a contract, right? So if you look in the first two lines, collectively speaking, when you find a supplier, you also create a contract. And contract has a duration. It has a start date and an end date, which means when your current contract expires, you are going to go back to market again, right? So in this case, it is possible, or most likely, what's happening is this large company ABC, their current contract with their current supplier is expiring. That's why they have to go back to step one, which is conduct sourcing. But since they have bought this product, which is laptop for a long time, they have had contracts in the past. This is not something new for them. They will conduct the RFP. And auction, as I was saying, it is used for certain industries, for certain types of products, right? Uh, Not really something you will do for laptops, right? So in this case, company ABC will do RFP, RFP type of sourcing event in Ariba. So let's make it bold. So sourcing event is RFI, RFP, and auction. Now we are buying things. Ariba said that people generally relate auctions with selling. They don't relate auction with buying, right? So they also gave an option for selling, right? There is an auction for selling as well. It's called forward auction or just auction. And what I mentioned above here for buying, it's called reverse auction because typically people say auction is for selling things and the reverse of that is for buying. So they call it reverse auction in the system. Forward auction, here you are selling instead of buying. And these are the four events. Any questions before I move on? No questions. Okay, so let's me log into Ariba system. Give me a second and then let's go from there. We will try to complete a full sourcing RFP type of event today in our session. How many of you guys have seen Ariba system before? You can raise your hand or you can speak up as well. Okay, so one person have seen it. Okay, thanks, Hima. All right, so some of you guys might have seen it but not willing to raise your hands. Totally get it. Now let's go to Ariba system. So this is our home page of SAP Ariba. And what we're saying, this is classic Ariba system. Classic means this is the older GUI, right? Used fairly commonly still for a lot of solutions which Ariba has, right? This is when a user logs into Ariba, they will have this as their homepage. Homepage means that's when they log in and that's where they land, right? And just to walk you guys through, every single tab more or less correlate with the module, right? So you can see that if I click here, it's going to be contracts module. If I click here, it's going to be invoicing module. If I click here, it's going to be catalog. Catalog, although it's not a module, it's part of the buying solution or module. It's more like a functionality within buying. Right? So these are various modules, and this is called your common actions menu. Common actions menus has two options: creating and managing. Creating means you're creating a document like requisition, right? And managing means you're managing certain part of the solution, or this is mainly you can say some reporting and some administrative activities. That's what manage is used for. Recently viewed shows you 10 documents, right? So you create documents. So this is saying what are the recent documents you have created or you have looked at. So this maintains a log of 10 documents, 5 show here and 5 show here, basically. You can look at your recent documents here. These are all the documents that you have created yourself under My Documents. This shows no data, but this can be like any report which has data. Somebody have tried to put a chart here, but there is no data in that chart. So if you click on here, you can actually delete this item if you want to. To-do list is like you do your work, you do your job, right? You maintain your to-do list. So it's basically that. You're not maintaining it, but Ariba is adding activities for you to do in this area called to-do. Right? So these are also called widgets: to-do widget, My Documents widget, similarly calendar widget. Calendar is not, I don't like this honestly, right? It's pretty clunky. I like the other computer calendar, or these days, I mean, all of us use smartphones. There are nicer calendars there to look at, and then emails and all that. Um, these are various kinds of reports you can put in here. And the view you see here, this can be different by module. In contracts, you might be looking at different things. In sourcing, you might be looking at different things, and so on. Right? In a homepage might be more generic. Maybe you want to have homepage as only reports, but widgets are going to be in the individual modules, right? That said, what we're looking to do is create a sourcing project, right? Now I use the new word called sourcing project. I get to it, sourcing project. So I clicked on create and I got the screen. So you can easy way to understand a sourcing project is nothing but a document that is created for sourcing. So project you can relate with, it's a document. It's a sourcing document, right? Project is used in Ariba frequently. And when I say frequently means different modules in Ariba use this name called project, right? And anybody wants to explain, generally speaking, what a project might mean? Like let's say IT project, what is that? Broadly speaking, if we take the technology out, generally speaking, what does project mean? Have you ever worked on any project before?
Yes, Manish. Project in the sense if we creating some of the items, what are the required items, or conducting one task to mix up the multiple manners of multiple works to complete one task.
Yeah, so I think Kiran made some important points. He brought some important points. Work, task, multiple tasks, right? So project is, let's build upon that. So within Ariba, project means a number of activities you will do, right? It also means that who will do those activities, right? So activities plus people who will do those activities. That's basically broadly speaking what a project means, right? Now activities can involve documents as well, right? And that's why there is documents part of a project as well. So there is people, which is the users. Then there is activities, which is the work which Kiran mentioned, and there is documents, because some documents might be necessary for performing certain activities. So you can say in ARIBA, or generally speaking, three things are involved in a project. Right? So here we will see as well as we continue to work on, we are looking into users, we're looking into documents, right, and so on. We are looking into the screen. And you guys can see my ARIBA system, by the way. I've been talking for a little bit. I didn't ask that.
Yes, Manish, it's visible.
Okay, thanks. So where we are right now, it's called Create Sourcing Project. Very easy to understand. Create your sourcing project. I said sourcing project is a document, and you're creating that document in this page. So basically, in this page, you're filling the details, which is going to help Ariba to think what type of project you want to create. Right? We are talking about sourcing, and we saw that there is four type of sourcing events: RFI, RFP, forward auction, reverse auction. Right? So in the sourcing project, we'll fill details such as what type of event you want to conduct, what is the name of this particular sourcing project, description, and a number of other fields. Let's talk about what those fields are. Right? It's basically filling a form. You fill a form, and depending upon the form you fill, you'll get certain output, which is going to be your sourcing event. Right? So we'll say 10K laptop RFP. Since we are looking at RFP for company ABC. Company ABC is who? Company ABC is the company which has this Ariba system implemented. Right? I use this word just for example. This is a free text field. You can type anything here. The next box is also a free text box. Right? Name and description. Quite easy to understand. You can expand it and as much detail as you want to add. Idea is that in Ariba, every module has reporting capability. Don't think about specialized reporting tools or ERP systems in which reports are a little bit hard to work with. I've felt, right? You either get table extracts or you get reports which are very, very static, right? In Ariba, reports are dynamic in the sense that you can customize them. We have a full session dedicated just for reporting, or at least half, if not full, depending on how long we spend, depending upon discussion topics and everything. In curiosity, you guys will show. So 10,000 laptops, RFP for company ABC. This name is gonna show in a report, right? And that report is gonna be read by who? If this is a $10 million RFP and there is gonna be a $50 million RFP, it's gonna go to the CEO most likely, right? Big company. And they will look at this name 10K laptop RFP for company ABC. You could be a very new buyer. You could just say ABC XXX. You can give that name. And then you might get a call from the CEO, right? And hey, what do you mean by XXX? And you will have no answer because you have done many XXXs and you don't know what XXX means, right? So, long story short, we should have a name which makes sense. So the reports are also looking nicer. Similarly, the description should be also something which makes sense so that if people look at it, right, then they can make sense out of it why we are having a sourcing for 10 million, right? So add some more description. Now I said sourcing project is a document. Since it's a document, you can copy from previous documents. So you have this feature of copy from project. Here you can select your previous sourcing projects, right? And you can use them for copying. When you copy, then data is going to come from that project to this project, like documents, users, and so on. We will not do that because if we do that, we will miss a number of other things which we need to learn. When you guys get your system access, feel free to use copy from project option. Okay. Let's say you create one RFP. You have done it. Then after that, you copy from that RFP. That's gonna save you time, but you will test the the process twice, right? Now, there is this field called project. It has two options: full project, quick project, right? Full, quick. Quick means something you want to do relatively fastly or quickly. Full means it says full, but it is basically opposite of quick. It's like a longer way of doing things, right? There is a logical sense or a reason why full project is there, not just because you want to spend more time, right? If we go back to our events, RFI, RFP, auction, right? Some companies in certain industries, again, I'll go back to mining, they will like to do RFI. Let me take RFI out. Typically, they will do RFP and then auction. Right? That's typical for them to follow. So they will do like two events together for one particular sourcing activity. Right? So sourcing project, full project gives you an opportunity of having two types of events within the same document sourcing project. So there is a word called initiative, right? Used sourcing initiative. So you guys, I don't know what your backgrounds are, right? But people who have worked in sourcing and they will know what the word sourcing initiative means. Let me explain you. Sourcing initiative means people who are conducting this sourcing project, they are like looking to buy something big, like 10,000 laptops. So it's a big initiative for them because they're going to spend a big money and likely they will get a very good price, which will likely have them save money, right? Maybe in the past they bought laptop for 2,000, now it's going to be 1,500, right? Which means they will save about 500 per piece, and which means like 5 million or at least 500,000 or 5 million. So that's a big initiative, right? So sourcing is seen as a saving initiative. So that's why the word initiative is used, right? So full project allows you to conduct multiple events of different types within the same initiative or within the same sourcing project, right? Typical in mining, we said. Otherwise, generally speaking, quick project is what is more 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 used by clients in the sense that it is quicker. Somebody who is looking to use a new system and who's primarily focusing only on the RFP, not on the other two RFI and auction events, then for them, quick project is the way to go. So, in my experience, 80% of clients will implement quick, 20% will implement full, right? In our example today, we will look at quick project and we are looking into the RFP option, RFI, RFP, reverse auction, and then forward auction. We are selecting RFP. As we select RFP, something happens, some new fields popped up here. Baseline spend, some savings, and so on. Right? So these fields are dynamic. Sometimes you will see in ARIBA when you select certain fields, it's going to make the system or the UI show certain fields and hide certain other fields. We'll see that in different areas of solution. So RFP, test project. Test project has an impact on the reporting data. If you say yes in this particular sourcing project, then this whole data which you are building by conducting this RFP, it is not going to feed into reporting. If you say no, then this data is going to feed into reporting. That's the key difference. In a production system, when you're looking to do certain testing, then you want to make sure the test project is selected as yes, because you can type in 100 million here, right? That 100 million will be feeding into the reports, and it's a very big number. And people might say, "What is this sourcing event?" And then they'll try to find out, "Hey, actually, this is not even real," right? So test project has a use in the production system, not in the testing system. So let's make it no. Smart import from Excel means you can import certain data from Excel, right? We will see when we go ahead what this means. Basically, this is just language and this is system origin. Origin means it's coming from, origin means are you creating your sourcing project locally in Ariba like we are doing right now. So by default, it shows Ariba sourcing. So we have regions, we have departments. Region is geographical region. Let's say we want to select the region of, I don't know, let's just select India, right, for now, or USA, USA, yeah, United States of America. Let's say we select that as a region. And then there is departments, right? We understand what departments are, finance department, HR department, and so on. Let's pick IT. IT makes more sense for laptops. Baseline spend is your estimate of how much you are how much is the value for this RFP? We did a quick estimate, $1,000 a piece or laptop, and then 10,000 laptops means our baseline spend is about 10 million. So one with seven zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Target savings, right? Savings means when you're spending this 10 million, how much you are actually saving. Let's say it is 20%. Then predecessor project, I'll park for now. We will see it in a later session when it is going to make more sense. It's going to be easy for us to relate. And right from here, all the way down till here, these are what we call custom fields, right? Custom fields are flex fields or fields which are not standard fields. In a new system, which you guys will often come across, you will see that the list of fields ends here. Predecessor project, and then here all these are standard fields as well. So in our system which we are using, all these are custom fields. Any thoughts why custom fields might be necessary?
Business requirement. Mm.
Exactly, it's a business requirement. At the end of the day, it's going to be a requirement, right? Client might see that we have all these fields and we need this extra field and for so and so reason, and that become your custom field, right? And these are here for probably some reason. I don't know exactly why they're here, right? And so they are, I think they are probably just for showing you guys that these are custom fields and you can add of various kinds. So like this is currency type, this is a user type, this is a supplier type, right? Probably. Then a free text type of custom fields, right? There, so you can add various kinds. That's what it probably shows. I don't know exactly why they're added. But requirements is the right answer. Owner. Owner is the user who is creating this sourcing project. By default, it's showing my ID, buyer 7. You can change it. Currency is the currency in which I want to conduct this RFP. US dollar is coming from my user profile. It's changeable as well. Commodity. Anybody wants to try and explain what commodity might mean?
I think categories.
Exactly, category. And what could category mean? Category means like grouping of products of similar kind, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see that these are category of products which are of same kind, like IT equipment. This is one category. Groceries, another category. Fresh food, another category, right? Furniture, another category, right? So commodity is nothing but category, as Hima mentioned correctly. Now, in ARIBA, by the way, um, there is a category taxonomy. Taxonomy means the nature of or the, it's hard to explain. Just Google what taxonomy might mean. Okay, that's probably easy. So ARIBA uses something called UNSPSC commodity codes. You can Google what UNSPSC means as well. It's a long description for this acronym. United Nation Product something something. I keep forgetting. So which means that I said that ARIBA has UNSPSC commodity codes. And what does that mean? That means that in a new ARIBA system, it comes preloaded with the UNSPSC commodity codes. Right? Preloaded means when you buy a new system, when a client buys new system, they will have those UNSPSC commodity codes already available. They don't have to create from scratch. And there is approximately 22,500 commodity codes that are preloaded into ARIBA. Pretty long list, right? And we will select just one from here. And I have selected laptop previously, I think, or somebody else might have. So we'll select laptop. So it's a pretty big thing for Ariba to understand what unit-specific commodity code means. Right? We'll talk about it in more detail. And you can select multiple commodities, by the way, by clicking on Add More. Contract months, contract effective date. This is saying that you're conducting your RFP. How long is your contract going to be? Let's say it is going to be for 5 years, 60 months, because it is asking in months, and it's saying what's going to be the contract effective date. Let's say it's going to be the new year or Jan 1, 2024. Question for you guys, quick quiz. How long do you guys think it takes to finish the RFP process? Any guess is fine.
I think as it we will be conducting the effective time as per our requirement. I think so, Manish.
Okay, I think I didn't explain the question. When you create your RFP and you send it to suppliers and they respond back to you and so on, right? End-to-end process from start to finish, generally how long can it take? That was the question. And of course, it can vary slightly by company, but what the point I was trying to make is RFP process is a relatively long process. It is not like creating a purchase acquisition, approving it, then a PO gets created. RFP involves multiple parties, right? Within the company, ABC, and outside, which is the suppliers. Um, a typical RFP can take anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to finish. Right? So in our session, we will finish the entire RFP life cycle in less than 2 hours, right? In real life, these 2 hours means probably 3, 4 months or 5 months, right? So the reason I was saying this is contract effective date is going to be something which is going to be like 6 months out. But I use like only 1st January just for our example, okay? The reason we have all these fields here is it also feeds into reporting, right? And which means that if somebody's looking at the reports, they'll say, okay, we have this RFP which is open, and these are all the details such as the duration of contract, the spend, and everything else, right? External system integration. Now, Ariba is the SAP product, e-procurement cloud-based. SAP has a very big ERP system, very successful ERP system, used by many companies, right? Many projects happening in the market. So what tool is up any use if it cannot even talk to SAP, right? Or integrate with SAP? So Ariba has integrations with SAP at multiple places, and we will talk about those integrations as well. For now, let's put it this way. We are having external system integration, due to which we will select certain fields here, right? I'm gonna select certain values. Like I selected this value here, right? This is basically the client for SAP system. Then there are certain other fields. These don't show as mandatory, so I can skip them. But this one was required, so I selected this particular one. So we have filled all the header fields all the way down from here till here. Now we have done all that. So what is this thing called template? Template is a key part of what you guys will do in your projects, right? Means you will spend a lot of time in your implementation projects on creating and changing and making and demonstrating and testing templates, right? So it's a key part of your um, role as a consultant implementing SAP Ariba sourcing, right? We will talk about templates more tomorrow or perhaps the week after, depending on how we go. Today, we will focus on using a template from here and seeing how that works. Right? For now, let's keep one thing in mind. Template drives the process which we will follow. So template is equivalent to a process. Right? So it's a template which makes this project work in a certain way. Now, this being a demo site, there is a lot of templates here. So let's try to pick one that I think might be working fine. Let's just use this, right? I think it should work. Click on create. So as I click on create, I got a document number and I see there it says event here, right? So we are in an event right now. This event is of type RFP, and that's the document number for that RFP. And that's just the name which we put in earlier, right? So this is the event document, and these are the various things we have to work on as a user. So I'm a user who is conducting RFP. I have to go through a number of these fields here. Some of these we will try to discuss today. Some we'll try to discuss in a session tomorrow or the next week, right? If we spend too much time on this, then we will miss our overall understanding of how the process works. So broadly speaking, we have 5 tabs here on the left: rules, team, suppliers, content, summary. Rules is the best way to understand is rules are guidelines or settings that a user can modify to make the RFP work in a certain manner. For example, we have timing rules. Timing rules define when the event will start and when it will end, right? Which means it's gonna make the RFP work in a certain way on the factor of timing, right? So you can modify the timing as well when you're in timing rules. Start date is what? Start date is when do you want this RFP to start? Let's say we wanted to start today, and let's make this as 10 a.m. for now. And then there is due date. Due date is how long do you want this RFP to conduct or run? Let's say we want to make it 30 days. 30 days means that we will keep this RFP open for 1 month. 30 days or roughly 1 month, right? Month can be 31 days as well. What does open mean here? And what does start date mean here? Any guesses? Okay, start date is when you start getting responses from your supplier, right? Example, you will send this RFP out to your suppliers, 4, 5, let's say. When can they start responding to your RFP? Like you can send the RFP out today, but you can see that response is going to start after 1 week. You can select that as well, right? This can happen. Clients might want that as a requirement, that we do not want our suppliers to start responding as soon as they get this RFP. We want to give it a week or so for every supplier to receive, so that every supplier can get approximately same time to work on that RFP, right? Client can ask that. And that's why we have this response start date. Due date is easy to understand. How long do you want to give suppliers to respond to the RFP? Kiran, please go ahead.
Yeah, Manish, as you said, response date and open date, but in this there is no open date, no Manish. So how can we do that?
Yeah, so response start date means it's open for response. That's basically what it means. So if you select, let's say, 11th of December, and you send your RFP to suppliers, it is going to open only on the 11th, although they will see the email and everything that I have an RFP to respond to. You see what I mean?
Okay, okay, got it, Manish. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So let's say we want to make it tomorrow. There's nothing wrong in doing it. We can come back and change it as well. Oh my goodness, that's not cool. So this error can happen if multiple users are using the same system. So somebody have basically kicked me out, you can say that. Right? So since I created the RFP, I clicked on create, at least my document is there. So let's say what happens is in ARIBA, it's a cloud solution. In our case, somebody probably went in and they logged in with my account and they did something and something happened, right? I'm just giving an example. If I had not clicked on create, then my document will not have saved, right? Only it gets created when you click on create. In the previous page, we had a create button, and since we used it, we are getting that our data is back here. Otherwise, we would have lost everything. So timing was not bad. So let's see, let's keep it same as today, 10 a.m., 30 days. Now, since you're giving a duration, you can give a fixed time as well. Let's say end on 31st of Jan and on so and so time. You can put that as well. Estimated award date. What does awarding means in sourcing terminology, right? That's what award means here. It's basically um, it's basically based on the sourcing process, right? So when you send your RFP to suppliers, they respond to you, you look at them, look at their responses, then you select a winner. That process of selecting a winner in sourcing language, not just Ariba, sourcing business language is called awarding. So awarding is selecting a winner. Like who's the winner for our tender or our RFP? That's what is called awarded supplier, and this process is called awarding. Right? So we are saying when do you expect the award to be done? So this field is visible to the supplier. They are able to see this field, and this can work as a motivation. We can say that our RFP is open for 30 days and we'll take about 15-20 days for evaluation, which means we can award on, let's say, Jan 31st. So that's going to help calm the supplier's nerves, and they will say that I'm putting so much effort in RFP, right? And this is this might work out for me like immediately. This can motivate them to give you better prices as well. Because if you see that, hey, I need it only for next year for awarding, then they'll say that, hey, fine, we'll give a reasonable price. We don't even know what the right estimate might be for next year, right? So we'll keep a buffer and give you a higher price, right? That thought process can kick in depending upon the date. Bidding rules, guys. I'm gonna skip all this, right? Bidding rules, and we'll talk about every single bidding rule and everything else in a great level of detail. I'm gonna skip a number of things here, and we'll basically go to the last one. Just to give another example of what rules can do. I mentioned that rules guide how the event can function or RFP can function. This functions, the timing rules impact the timing side of things. And the market feedback is saying, this particular rule is saying, can owner see responses before the event closes? What does closing of an event means? Let's say you send this event today and you say you have 30 days to respond. On the 31st day, like as soon as 30 days finish, event is closed for responses. Means suppliers can see the event, but they cannot change their responses. They cannot put anything else in their responses. That's what closing of an event means, right? And this is saying, can the owner, who's owner? Owner is the user who's creating this RFP, which in this case is me, who is buyer 7. Can the owner see the responses before the event closes, right? Who are sending the responses to us? Suppliers. We are saying that, can buyer 7 see the supplier responses before 30 days? So let's say Supplier 1 responds today, they will see response right now. Supplier 2 responds tomorrow, they will see response tomorrow, and so on. Right? Best practice in sourcing is to make sure that it is always no. It's never said yes. Right? Reason is if you say yes, then there is slight risk that the buyers might want to work with suppliers to trick the system, because you can see that supplier one's pricing is 1,000, supplier two is my best friend, and I'll ask supplier two to give me 990, and relatively, I'll ask them to adjust their qualitative criteria, and we'll get a better response to them, and we'll give a award to them. Right? That corruption scenario can happen. So best practice is to always say no, and when you say no, you will basically select everything. Right? We'll talk in more detail about these rules, what all of these means in more detail, but this is basically what this rule is all about. Remember what I said about this rule? I'm going to ask you guys this question later on as well, what this rule means. Okay? Can owner see responses before event closes? So I gave you a hint as well to remember. Hopefully you guys will remember. Let's click on next now. We went through rules. Now let's click on next. Next is we are team at the team tab, right? Or team section. We said that project is involving teams as well or users as well. So this is where you will maintain your users. Now, excuse me, there's buyer 7 here, and there is almost like multiple groups here, right? Users can be organized in groups, and that's why you see multiple groups here. And each and every group can mean something, right? There are groups which are project owner, like I'm buyer 7, I'm the project owner. There are groups who are administrators, like groups, these users who are having this particular group, they'll be able to basically see every event, see the details of every single event. Then there are users who are just observing. Observing means that you will see what's happening, but you will not have edit access, like read-only access. So all these groups can be set up in a certain manner. Right? More to come about this, but for now, let's get a high-level understanding. Team members can be added to the Teams tab. Team members are who? They are users, and they can be plugged into separate groups, right? And depending upon the groups, they can do certain activities, right? Like for example, in a project, you have a project manager, you have a stream lead, you have a lead, and then you have support people. Like similarly, you have these roles, right? Not really like IT project, but document management, you can say, like who has what level of access, who can edit, who can just look at, right? Who can approve. All these things can be controlled here. Now, if I click on next, I won't make a huge change here. Click on next. This is where our suppliers will come. There is a word called participant also used here. So participant is basically supplier, one and the same. We are saying who are the suppliers whom we want to invite to participate in responding to this RFP. Right? So participants here nothing means nothing but suppliers. So which suppliers do you want to invite so that they can give their responses and you can look at them and possibly award one of them. So let's click on invite participants. When you click on invite, a new page is going to open up. And this is where you will see what you can search. You can search, if you click on search, you'll see a list, right? And all these, what we see here are filters. You can filter by various criteria. Long list is popping up, 141. I want to search for particular suppliers. The reason is I have access to the suppliers' accounts. And ARIBA has a supplier portal. I didn't mention that before in ARIBA overview. ARIBA has all those modules which I mentioned, but it also has something called a supplier portal. Anybody knows about that? What a supplier portal is, which ARIBA has or SAP has? Anybody has heard about the word ARIBA network or SAP business network? Nobody. That's fine, right? So SAP Business Network or ARIBA network, which you will see as well, most likely today, it is what? It is a portal or a website in which suppliers can log in to work with the users of ARIBA. So company ABC, you have users in ARIBA because it's an ARIBA system they are using for sourcing. They're going to work with a number of suppliers. How will they work with those suppliers? Like you're creating RFP here. Like, are you going to download and send it to them over email? No. Are you going to print it out and send it to them over paper? No, that's not the case, right? You're sending it electronically, right? You're sending your RFP to suppliers electronically. If you're sending to them electronically, they should be able to receive it somehow, right? And to receive it, they have this portal called ARIBA Supplier Network or Business Network. And if you guys haven't heard about it, you are probably missing um, a lot of knowledge. ARIBA Network is the largest portal of suppliers, guys, in the world, right? It has 3 million, no, 3 is an old number actually. It has 5 million plus suppliers on it right now, right? Globally. 5 million, it's a pretty big number. And what it means is, as clients implement ARIBA, they are working with their existing suppliers, probably large suppliers. And those large suppliers, what they find is they're already using ARIBA network. Means they have their portal account already. And since those suppliers have their portal account already, means that it is an easy communication, digital or electronic communication, which starts happening between suppliers and the client, right? Which they see as a big plus point. They see that, okay, we are working on RFP. We can send that RFP to our suppliers electronically and they can respond to us electronically. Great. That simplifies no emails, no phone calls, nothing, right? Then you can send back messages back and forth as well. That can also happen. And then later on, we'll see other modules. They are also natively integrated with the ARIBA network. Right? So it's a big plus point of system which we are looking at right now. Now the supplier I'm looking at, I know the names. I'm just going to search by name. I'm going to delete these filters. And the reason I'm using these suppliers is because I have their accounts and I can show you guys how it works. So I just search by keyword and it's going to show me a number of outputs. Right? So it's looking into the name. It's looking into address as well, I believe. That's why it's popping up everything. So suppliers which we will use, it's called brand New Delhi, old Delhi, New Delhi. Oops, not this one. You see there is an email here. That's my email basically. And email is an indicator for me that this is my account. I think I can search by email as well. There are other fields you can add here, right? Um, so this search field is pretty nice. I mean, um, you can use various criteria for searching, right? Pretty neat. You can also, by the way, as a user, create a new supplier or create a new participant. You can do that as well. It's possible to do. We will not get into that. It's going to bring this into another module, SLP module, which we'll cover later on. That's going to derail our discussion a little bit. So since I've selected my suppliers, let's click on OK. OK means I'm going to bring those back into our system, right? Or our sourcing project. So these are 3 suppliers or organizations who I want to use. These are the names of those contacts in those organizations. This is me, bar 7, who's inviting them. And now there is a couple of fields here. Incumbent. Anybody understand what the English word incumbent means?
Whether they had previously worked with us or not.
That's what exactly incumbent means. Incumbent means they have worked with us before. Let's say Old Delhi has worked with us before. So you want to set this as an incumbent. We'll select it as incumbent. And this flag of incumbent is going to have an implication on our output of sourcing as well. We'll see how that works. Now, there is a couple of other columns. Like response team means that if there is multiple contacts, right? All those contacts, they get access to the event, right? And then they can respond to the event collectively. Um, Suppliers typically don't want that. They will have one fixed contact for sourcing. responses or RFP responses. So team option is there. I mean, if there is a requirement from client, then this can be done, right? Generally, it's not done. Then a couple of other columns: registration status, qualification status. For now, let's say that these are coming from SLP module. Now, yeah, invite other participant if you want to invite other. Excel import for suppliers, don't worry too much about it. It's not very, very nice. This is saying, do you want to add your suppliers in Excel? Generally, you will not add more than 10 suppliers in sourcing and ARIBA in real life, not just testing, right? So Excel import is like useless in my view. If I click on next, this is where Excel import can be helpful. Why is Excel import helpful here? That's a question we should ask ourselves. Guys, are you willing to take a short break? Let's say 10 minutes. I think we have gone for more than an hour, hour and a half or so. Nobody wants a break?
Yeah, no break. It's continuing.
No break, Hima. Okay, so nobody else wants a break either? Okay, that's all good. Okay, guys, just give me a second. I got to make a quick phone call in 1 minute. Okay, guys, so this is content tab. Content means RFP content, right? And what is RFP content? RFP content, we said earlier, it's pricing and it's also qualitative factors. There is two type of contents in RFP. And we took some examples. Qualitative means what? Qualitative is factors such as warranty, return policy, right? Anything like that, or supplier background, those could be qualitative. Now, there is a commonly it's done, right? Commonly, you call you add a section like introduction in your RFP. And introduction is nothing but you're introducing yourself as company ABC. You're saying that we are company ABC and this is basically our background and this is we have a very large need. We are not just joking around. We have an actual need. We are a multinational company and so on. Just to, you know, introduce yourself to the supplier. Now, is a supplier not going to Google you, right? When they see the RFP, they probably will. They probably know you already if they have worked with you in the past. But generally, in RFP, there is a standard content like a paragraph or two, which is mentioned as introduction, right? So introduction is generally done added in the RFP content. We can say that it's not really qualitative; it is more informative. So there is a third type of content we just brought up. Informative content can be added, qualitative content can be added, or is always added, and pricing is always added. So introduction we leave as it is. Commercial terms we will rename it. So what you see here, one, two, three, these are three different sections you have entered in this particular RFP. It's already there in this particular RFP. So we'll rename this section. I'll call it something else. I'll edit it. I'll call it qualitative criteria, qualitative section. Let's just call it qualitative section. So I have three section: introduction, qualitative, pricing. Any have any of you guys seen an RFP before of any kind? You haven't seen, okay. RFP is a very long document. RFP is what? It's a list of questions with a space to which supplier can answer, right? So it's like, you can see it's a huge, for a client that is not using a ARIBA system, it's a huge Word document which has sections like introduction, qualitative section, and pricing. And it also has a place where suppliers can enter their response. Or you can say that it is basically a Q&A, questions with a space to provide answer, right? That's what RFP really looks like. And that's what we are trying to build here. RFP can go very long, like 20 pages sometimes. A lot of questions are asked depending upon what the actual goods or services are required, right? In introduction, like we'll add something basic here. We'll add something called a requirement. So you can add different types of content here, right? You can add a section, items, question, requirements, attachments. Let's add a requirement here. Requirement is nothing but adding a paragraph to which no response is needed. Let's say that we are large multinational company, and I'll just add it there, right? So we're done with our section one, which is introduction. Qualitative section, I'll try to add a few types of questions. Now, question itself can be few types. Question can be like 10 different types, by the way. So these are all different type of questions we can add. So it's pretty detailed. What I do encourage is, we are picking an example and we are seeing how that works in ARIBA. When you guys go and you get your system access, I suggest that you guys, not right now, let's first go through a couple of sessions, because I'm sure you haven't got your access either yet. But as soon as you get your access, try to play with it. Try to create different types of questions, right? Or select different type of answer types for each question. That's going to increase your understanding of what all of those means, right? I mean, theoretically, of course, you can understand that. Practically, it's a different level altogether. Right? So I will suggest you guys put some effort, personal effort in learning it more, okay? With what I'm telling as like a foundational knowledge. So let's add this question. We'll say, please explain your experience in this business. I'm just asking some general question here, which you will typically ask in an RFP. You can have a single line answer, you can have a multi-line answer. Let's say we want a multiple line answer. Multiple line answer means that you can have it like a paragraph. And we'll click on add another question. And here we'll say, please tell the number of years you have been in this business. And we will make it a text single line limited. When you say text single line limited, this option of acceptable values show up, and you can make it multiple choice. And we'll say 1. There are some values showing 20, 30, just any values, right? And let's add one more, and we'll say line item. No, not line item. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to do that. Add a question. Line items are items for pricing. We'll add them later on. Here we will add one more thing. Let's say, how long is your warranty? And we'll say, please attach your warranty policy. So we'll make it list of choices, but we'll also allow them to add attachments, right? Allow, no, there is a field here. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah. Can participants add attachments and comments? We'll make it yes. What this does is supplier can add more comments and they can also attach files here. We'll say 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years. Okay. And let's click on done. So that's enough. We have added like 3-4 questions. So that's good enough. Pricing. Pricing is where you will add line items. Now, have any of you guys worked in SAP in the past or work currently?
Yeah, no.
No. Okay, so in SAP there is a notion of materials or items, right? The point I was going to say is it is possible to add items from SAP backend system as well, right? You can add those items too. Right? That's also available as an option. Or you can add items through Excel as well, or you can add items in a UI. And we will add items in a UI. Reason is we don't even know how the UI works. So let's just work on the UI. So we'll say big laptop. That's our first line item. You can add a description to be more descriptive. And you got to add certain details like how many big laptops do you want? Let's say you want 5,000 big laptops, and we'll click on done. Sometimes it gives an error to us that there is something missing. Uh, Very good. Big laptop must contain at least one term that has included cost set to adder or subtractor. Okay, guys, I'll do certain things here, okay? And hopefully that's let me gonna go through here. These things can happen if there is a problem with templates as well. I'm gonna try to play with it, okay? Just give me a second. Hopefully this works fine. At least one term lost to error or subtractor. Editor. Okay. Shipping. So I selected a template, okay? And what that did is it gave me an error, which I'm trying to solve right now. And I think that's gonna hopefully let me go through it. I'll just add a value here. I think that should work. And I'm gonna click on done, right? So I just did a quick workaround. Let's copy this. You can also copy and you can paste. And by this, all the details get copied over, and all you do is just change some fields here. We want 5,000 big laptops and 5,000 small laptops, right? Because our total is 10,000. Rest everything is same. Done, right? So we have added certain content here. We have a very brief introduction, like less than half a line. We have a qualitative section which have 3 questions, and we have pricing which has 2 laptops. Now, if you notice, you can drag and drop to change sequence as well, right? That's another nice thing which about the UI. In Excel, you can, let's say you want to add things in Excel. What you will do is you will basically click on this button called simplified Excel import. Don't worry too much smart import. This doesn't work very nicely, right? This is a good feature. It's slightly more marketable with guided sourcing, which we will look at tomorrow, right? Um, it's not so useful with the classic sourcing which we are looking at right now. Simplified Excel import. So first step, what you do is you will click on this link. This downloads the Excel file. This Excel file will have certain columns in it. Let's quickly look at it. Then I'll explain you guys briefly what you can do. I won't exactly do it right now, just to keep going with our progress. Okay, so let me show you what this did. It downloaded a template for me. There are some nice instructions you have here. Like what do you actually have to do? So the simplified Excel import is pretty nice. And you have line items. So I have added 3 line items in the UI. Can you guys see my screen, by the way?
No, Manish, it's not.
Okay, so let me share again. Okay, so now you can see.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the template which I downloaded. It tells the RFP name and it has place to add line items. The first tab has some instructions already in place. It's saying what all things you can add, some guidelines for you. The line items that you add in the UI and the section you add in the UI for the pricing, this basically shows here. Right? So you can right now what you're going to do is you can copy, paste, and go all the way down if you want to. Right? You can add as many line items as you want. ARIBA supports 2,000 line items. It's a pretty big number, right? So you can add up to 2,000 line items. Save it, and once you have saved it, you will basically import it back to ARIBA, right? We won't do it right now. You guys can do it when you have time for doing it, and it's nice exercise to understand how it works. Reason is clients will sometimes say that adding items in a UI seems a little bit lengthy. Then you say that, hey, we have a very simple Excel import. Then you basically export what you have, then you import it back in by adding more lines, and that generally works. And then you click on next. And as you click on next, you get this option for publish. Publish is what? Publish is you are looking into various details, what you have filled in, overview, team members, timing, and various other rules, line items you have added, suppliers you have invited. Publish. Now, we just saw a new word called publish. What does publish mean here? Publish that nothing means nothing but sending this out to the suppliers, publishing to the suppliers, or making it available to suppliers for responses or looking at. Our responses will not be ready or open until 10 my time, 10 a.m. I'm in a different time zone, right? Um, Publishing will, however, send the email notifications to suppliers and they will be able to look at the emails. They can log into the reviewer system, look in the RFP. They will not, however, be able to respond to the RFP, right? But they get certain details, which we will see how what they are. Now, thing is, typically there is an approval task as well on the RFP. So if I click on View Publish Approval Task, there is no approval here, which works for us. Reason is, if there was an approval task and I was not the approver, it would have stopped me from approving. So generally, and not generally, I would say like 100% of time, RFPs before they are published, like when you click on publish button, before the actual emails and the access to the RFPs is sent to the suppliers for responding and for reviewing, there is generally a one level approval that is done, right? It is called, let's say, sourcing manager approval. Generally, that's the approval which you do in your RFP. In this particular example, the RFP we are using, the approval task has no approval on it, right? And since it has no approval on it, when I click on publish, it's going to go straight to the supplier, which is fine, right? We will get into our task topic again later on. For now, if I click on publish, it's going to go to the supplier. And before I do that, any questions you guys have on this? No questions? Crystal clear what RFP and sourcing and everything is in terms of process, what you have looked at? Okay, then it means I'm either a very good instructor or a very bad instructor. Two possibilities. I'll live with the first one, that I'm a very good one, just to feel better. Uh, Now, what I will do is I'll click on publish. And what this does is it sends the RFP to the supplier. And when you publish it and it is successfully published, you get the option of monitoring it. And what does monitoring means? Monitoring means you are waiting for supplier responses. This says that there is approximately 12 minutes available in preview. What does preview mean? Preview means suppliers can preview or look at the RFP, but they cannot respond to the RFP until it is 10 o'clock my time, right? That's what it means. Now, emails have gone out to suppliers. I'm going to show you guys what those emails are. So let me show you guys the email which we have received. And let me bring my mailbox here for a second. You guys can see my emails?
Yes.
Okay, so this have sent me 3 emails. Any thoughts why I got 3 emails here instead of one? Okay, somebody about to speak, please go ahead, Hima, if you have any point. Okay, if you don't remember, it's totally fine. I know for some of you guys it's a little late. Today's session started late because I had some other challenges. I got 3 emails. Reason is I've got 3 suppliers which are selected for participating, and all 3 of them have same emails, which is mine. So I got 3 notifications, right? So this is certain messaging which is sent from the ARIBA system that you are invited to respond to this RFP. Click here and you can log in and you can start responding, right? What I will do is I will log into the supplier side system now. Just give me 1 minute and I'll show you guys how this looks on the supplier side. And are you guys in India time zone or some other time zone?
EST?
You're in EST time zone, so you are in daytime. Okay. Some of you guys are probably in India time zone, not sure, right? So I'm just being cognizant of everybody's time. And what I'm sharing right now is Ariba supplier network login. Now I'm looking at sourcing and I have to select the right place where sourcing is. I will click on proposals and questionnaires. There are other modules or you can say places in the Ariba supplier network portal or SAP business network portal, right? And you can use it, open it by supplier.ariba.com, and then this page shows up. Here you will select on proposals and questionnaires, and then you see SAP Ariba proposals questionnaires. Then there are certain things you can put here, which is your username and password. And let me open the file which have my user IDs, and I'll quickly copy paste my accounts here, and we should be good to go. Let's first do New Delhi, and we'll do one supplier at a time. And our content is not very big, so it's not going to take too long to respond, honestly. Okay, my password needs to change. Let me do that. Do you guys understand what Ariba network means? Given the understanding I've given you guys, or no?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. It's loading a little bit, I think, still thinking. Yeah, see, there are so many events here. Yeah, this account, I give it to like you guys as well. And you guys will be able to create more RFPs and use this account. That's why it shows a lot of other things other users have created from other trading sessions. And our event should really show here as well. Why does it not show? Oh, it's completed. Okay. So completed means it's finished. Pending selection means you have responded as a supplier, but you have not responded or you haven't seen the awarding yet, or they are not completed yet. And preview means that you have this new RFP, event type RFP, but you cannot respond to it. You can only preview it, right? When you're previewing, you get certain data to look at. It's saying this event is going to be starting 10 a.m. Okay, so I have 8 minutes to preview. It's due on Jan 8 next year at 10 a.m. So you got about 30 days to respond. It even tells that I'm going to get a 60 months contract. Wow, 5 years. That seems very appealing. And it's going to be starting 1st of Jan. Wow, very motivated now. And some other details. Now, I am seeing introduction. What about other sections? Some introduction section. If I click here, then I see qualitative section as well. What is being asked, although I cannot respond to it. I see line item details which I have to respond to, right? Although I cannot answer to it. Reason is it's not 10 a.m. yet. Now it is saying review prerequisites. Blue button is highlighted. So it's like guiding the supplier what to do, right? Supplier can review the prerequisites, and which is basically this bidder agreement which shows. This bidder agreement is what? It is terms and conditions of SAP ARIBA that you read it and you agree with it. If you say I do not agree with it, then you cannot respond to the RFP, right? Which is general. I mean, you want to make sure that supplier agrees to your terms and conditions and click on OK. Once you click on OK, then you get the option of, do you think you want to supply to both items, or do you want to supply to, respond to pricing for both items or only one? Now, it is both laptops. For industries such as mining, the list is pretty big, like 500, 600,000 items is quite common, right? In that case, it probably makes sense to, you know, um, look in the Excel and see which items you want to respond to, right? You can download in Excel and see that out of 500, 300 I'll want to respond, other 200 I cannot respond. And the reason is there is a column for reason as well that, um, I actually don't have those items. I don't supply those type of items, right? So when the number of items is very long, then Excel functionality can be used for um, saying yes or no. In this case, let's say I want to respond to both items. I'll click on confirm. And now I'm just waiting and watching. I got 5 minutes to respond. Sorry, 5 minutes to see it, and then it's going to open for response, right? As soon as the clock hits 10 o'clock. Okay, guys, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions you have. And then we can go from there. Are you guys comfortable to share a little bit about, like, are you working in SAP today? Are you working in, if you feel comfortable, if not, it's fine. It can sometimes help me, link what I'm talking to you with your background as well. It can help me out. That's why I was asking, right? So if you're comfortable, you can unmute and speak, because we do have a number of sessions to go through together, right?
Hi Manish, Riaz here.
Areas.
Yeah, I'm from SAP MM background. I have
I think I have heard your voice before. You probably were in the demo session too, probably.
no, this is my first session.
First session, okay, my bad. I could have a friend which sound like you then.
Oh,
You go ahead,
yes,
Raz. So you have worked in SAP MM, so that's good to know. A
yes,
lot of things which you will talk, you can relate with it because you have
yes.
worked in.
Sourcing and we have a scheduling agreement as we have
You guys have contract scheduler, yeah, exactly.
contract and all outline agreements, all this related.
So I think out of 100 things, probably 80 things you can easily relate with, given your MM background. So I think learning curve is not very long for you, and it's quite typical if you are from MM background. Um, People generally want to learn more about Ariba, right? Um,
Yes,
yeah, thanks, Riyas.
thank you.
Anybody else willing?
Hi Manish, I am Hema. I am new to
Hema?
yeah, I am new to SAP Ariba.
And in general, like, are you in technology? Are you in like other business functions?
Non-IT Manish.
Non-IT, okay, and that's fine. The reason I'm saying is, in one of our training sessions, we had a teacher, and that person knew nothing about IT, and she never took an IT course before, and she took her training for Ariba, right? Now,
Yeah.
I won't have exact details. Was she looking for? I think she was looking for a switch in her career. She had done teaching for a little bit. She was looking for switching her career. That's why she was trying doing Ariba training. So that if you're not from MM or any other procurement background, it's fine. I mean, you can still learn these things if you spend some time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Manish.
Welcome, Emma. Anybody else, guys? If you don't want to speak, it's totally fine, okay? I'll give you guys 30 seconds to decide, otherwise, we'll keep moving. Or 1 minute, actually. Reason is we only have almost 1 minute. Great question, Hema. Hema said that there was a question that if supplier doesn't want to use Ariba for responding to RFP, what do you do? So, firstly, you want to motivate suppliers to use Ariba. That's the first and most important thing you want to use. And that generally works. The reason is you will see that if you look in your supplier base as a buyer, all your big suppliers, they will probably already be using Ariba. Reason is, I'll take an example of US, right? Big companies, right? They work with big suppliers. Right? There is at least one big buyer who has a Ariba system or who have SAP system. If you have SAP, then you will have Ariba network as well, because from SAP you can send POs to Ariba network. That's quite common, right? Now, if you get one supplier who's big, who is using Ariba, it's very easy to motivate the other ones for comparative reasons, right? But worst case scenario, if nobody agrees, I mean, there is one odd supplier who does not agree, then you can work around. There is a way you can add a bid for themselves as well. It's called surrogate bidding, right? You can add a surrogate bid or a bid on behalf of a supplier. We'll talk about that more in our discussions coming in coming sessions. So if you guys haven't introduced yourself or talked about your background, it's totally fine. We are at time now in terms of opening our event, responding to our event. So I'm logged in as one of the suppliers. And here my RFP is open to me. It's open for 30 days, almost. Um, and this is how I see it as a supplier. So for a supplier, it's basically filling a form. Supplier can also fill in Excel as well. They can export to Excel, then import it back. If they feel that, hey, this is a very long form to fill, and I feel that filling in Excel is better for me, then they can export to Excel and fill it, right? So they have both the options. Um, please explain your experience in this business. I'll say that I am brand new to computers, right? I'm just typing anything in. It might not make sense. And please tell the number of years you have been in this business. I've been in this business for 1 year. How long is your warranty? I got 1 year warranty. Great. And okay, guys, there was something wrong with the template. So I'm not able to change the price. Price is fixed at 5,000, right? What I will do is I'll just compete based on shipping. How much is your shipping cost, right? My shipping cost is 1,000 per unit. And small laptop, for how about that? It is again 1,000. My shipping cost is 1,000 and this is what I've entered. Do you guys see what I mean? I'm not able to edit the price. Reason is the template is configured in a certain way. So, but I left the shipping as open to edit. So I'm just enter our details and shipping. So for a moment, just assume in your head that this is price. Okay. You can ignore what this says. Just think that this is price. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is price. Okay. Think about it like this way. I'll submit my response. I'm a first supplier. I've submitted it. I can even revise it after submitting as long as 30 days are not gone. Right. So this was supplier number one. Let's add supplier number two. Very similarly, I'll add user ID for them and then password. I got to change password for this guy as well. So let's do it. Now this RFP is going to be in open. Huh? Why is it not showing here? Oh, there is one open here. Okay, open. And then I will do the same thing. Review prerequisites. Agree to it. Okay. And then I will say I respond to both. And then I'll go ahead and fill my responses in there. I have little experience. First one was I have no experience. This has little experience. And we'll just select 20 years. This 20 is little and 2 years. And then let's say it is, instead of 1000, it is 1100. Right. I'm just typing any values just for sake of demonstrating that you are responding as a supplier. We got one more supplier to go. We'll just quickly do that as well. And then we will be done with this supplier side. And after that, we'll be on the ARIBA system side. My suggestion is to try to understand how the supplier side works, right? One can argue, hey, it's not important, right? And the reason is people might say that we are ARIBA consultants, we are not ARIBA network consultants, which is fair, right? You don't have to understand it to a great level of details, but a little bit of understanding, there's nothing wrong. This is just going to help you in your discussions with your clients. Review prerequisites, accept, okay, and confirm, and then fill our response. I have great experience, 30 years, 3 years. Pricing is little higher, 1200, 1200. Submit our entire response and done. So we have responded as 3 suppliers. Now let's go back to our ARIBA system and see what's happening there. Okay, so this is ARIBA. Now, as suppliers respond, there is a bit of a log that ARIBA maintains, right? Participation status is participated. And this even tells me that a supplier is currently logged in, right? This icon shows that supplier is connected to the ARIBA network, right? So right now I see that I've gotten responses from all 3 suppliers. If I go to content, I do not see the responses, right? Which is fine. I don't see the responses. Reason is event is still open. Until this event ends, I will not be able to see the responses. So which means I got to end this event. In real life scenario, you won't end this. You won't get responses from suppliers like in less than 5 minutes the way I did. As I was saying, it's going to be long term, 3-4 months, 5 months sometimes. So it takes time for suppliers to get responses, right? To give responses and for us to complete our overall evaluation and everything. But since we are demoing or testing, what we'll do is we'll click on actions and we'll click on stop event. And what stop does is it's basically stops the event. And I sometimes have to click twice. That's the only thing. Stop the event and now it should be good. Really. Yeah, now it's good. Right? Pending selection. So now since the event is stopped, I can see the responses here. I have great experience. I'm brand new to computers. I have little experience. Look at the number of years, 20 years, 1 year, 30 years, 1 year warranty, 2 year warranty, 3 years warranty. Wow. And let's look at pricing. This is going to be um, total 10 million. This is going to be 11 million. This is going to be 12 million. Again, assume that we're looking at prices. Okay. So our price is going to be 12 million, 10 million, 11 million. So which supplier do you guys think is the best supplier we should pick?
New Delhi Corp.
And why?
Because he quoted the lowest, and we can also see that symbol he had win the bid like thing.
Oh, I see. I see. I think you brought a good point. You said that there is a symbol, lead bid, right? And what lead bid means that, and also there is other numbers, 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3, you can say they are the ranks, and lead is means what is number one rank. So number one is going to show one and also a lead bid, right? So ARIBA gives the lead bid to the supplier who has the lowest price, right? So which means New Delhi is 10,000, Old Delhi is 11,000 or 11 million, and brand New Delhi is 12 million. So 1, 2, and 3. ARIBA does not look at any other qualitative factors, right? Because price is something you can easily calculate, right? Or like it's math, sort 1, 2, 3. That's what it has done, right? So if price is your only criteria and qualitative are like nice to have but not very very critical, then New Delhi Corp is your winning supplier, right? And that's what Ariba is going to do. It's going to see that this is your winning supplier. So since our event is in evaluation phase, we have something called scenario. In the scenario tab, we have three scenarios that are automatically created, right? So you can think of scenarios as three calculations Ariba has done, right? And it has said that depending upon my calculations, these are the suppliers who are winning. So we are looking into three different scenarios. Best bid. Best bid means overall lowest price. Second is best bid with limited number of suppliers. Let's say you have 5 suppliers. Some items have high prices, some have lower prices. Then this program is very helpful. It will say that if you go with my suggestion, then you will have minimum number of suppliers and you will have maximum number of savings or maximum amount of savings. So then this criteria is very, very helpful. And the third is incumbent. Incumbent means who is your current supplier and the pricing for them. Now, thing is, incumbent gave us two, and the pricing looks very weird. 10,000, 10 million, and 100 USD, right? So these scenarios are automatically created. What if we want to say that, you know, warranty is very important for us? 3 years warranty. Overall background is very important for us. 30 years experience, 20 years experience. Or we say that, you know what, pricing is a factor too. So maybe Old Delhi Corp is a better supplier for us because they don't have a very high pricing, but they have a relatively better experience than New Delhi Corp, right? And we think that brand New Delhi is very high. So that's a bit of analysis and judgment call which the people who are looking at this output of the RFP are, you know, doing. And based on that, a judgment call, they will go back to scenario tab, and then they will see that whether these scenarios make sense for them or no. Like if I click here, click on view, and Ariba is awarding it to New Delhi. It's based on price. If you're okay with it, you can submit for an award. And if you look in the best bid, it is going to again sell me same supplier, New Delhi Corp, because the price is lower. And then incumbent, it's going to be slightly weird. It's going to bring the incumbent in there too and give them like almost nothing. Right? They will say buy 1 unit from incumbent, but buy 4999 from the New Delhi Corp. So this optimization scenario doesn't work best, I think, in my experience. So judgment call is the way to go. So don't rely fully on the scenarios. Just think about what the content and the response is. That's where the human factor also comes in. and which is what clients want to have. They don't want it to leave anything fully to a system. They want to use it for the benefits of reporting and audits and ARIBA network and digital back and forth and so on. They want to still think and they want to still decide who's the best supplier. So based on my criteria, I think Old Delhi Corp is the best supplier. But Old Delhi Corp, nobody is suggesting anything, right? No award is suggesting just Old Delhi Corp. So this is where ARIBA gave you an option of manual scenario, right? So you click on create a manual scenario, and we'll see this overall best bid. Let's call it a name like that. Now we have to select something from here, by the way, right? Just select any random value from here. It won't have any impact. These two fields, since they are mandatory. Now this is where our actual awarding comes in picture, right? You have three suppliers. You can select either one of those, and you can even select more than one. You can give one supplier first item, second supplier second item. That's also possible to do. We want to go with only Old Delhi Corp, right? So we select that, and basically all the volume or the award is going to be going to Old Delhi Corp. Once you have done this, you will click on submit for award. Submit for award means that firstly, this pop-up is going to show, or the screen is going to show. Are you going to send some emails or some notifications to suppliers who are winning and the ones who are not winning? Winning means awarded, not winning means not awarded. And you can customize the message as well by clicking on this button. Or you can see that I don't want to send any email, it's fine. We'll tell them later on, or we'll phone them, right? So if I click on this, it's basically going to send another automatic email to suppliers, which will say that you have won or you have lost. But once it's done, the status becomes completed. And completed means what? Completed means that we have completed our RFP execution. And overall best bid is the one we have selected. It has 11 million price, and it is a manual scenario, and it has been awarded to Old Delhi Corp. Right. So this is our end-to-end process within sourcing. Right. So we saw end-to-end process within sourcing for 10K laptop RFP for company ABC. I'm just going to copy this and paste this in our work document so that if you guys want to refer to it later on, you can. And I think basically we might want to pause here. Yeah, we can pause here and we can start again tomorrow at the planned time, which is earlier than today. And tomorrow we will look into something called guided sourcing. Has anybody heard about guided sourcing?
No.
No, Manish.
You guys haven't heard about it. So since you guys are a little new to ARIBA. So we saw sourcing project in ARIBA today, right? So what we saw is a UI, and that UI is called sourcing UI. It's been around for more than a decade, very widely used, right? Many clients use it. The challenge, however, is it is an old UI, right? Um, there is a segment of clients which say that, hey, we have used this UI great. It has its own nuances, right? In the sense that we find that we see this huge screen of rules, we don't want to see it, right? We see that you have to click on to different areas to fill the form for RFP. This is quite complex. We want something which is slightly more modern, right? Um, this was going on for a little bit. So Ariba launched a new UI. That new UI is called guided sourcing, right? Relatively new. Um, so new projects, if you guys are not in Ariba already, new projects will likely be on guided sourcing. The enhancement projects or maintenance projects might be in classic sourcing, right? And you guys will come to know that in Ariba, most projects will be either new or they will be support, right? Support means that you will go there and support them in tickets, support them in email, support them in changing some things in the system like Ariba support, right? Um, ARIBA support project itself is a pretty big market, not just implementation, because many clients are using. And if you are getting support, then this is what we are doing as we did today. Same UI you will use. In a brand new project, you will use guided sourcing. So tomorrow we will look at guided sourcing, the new UI, to do the same things. Okay, good guys. Any final questions before we say goodbyes and see each other tomorrow? No questions. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Then in that case, have a good day or a good night. If you are in India, I really appreciate you staying for this late, and um, we can talk tomorrow.
Yes, Manish. Thank you very much. Thanks for the session.
Hey
Thank
Manish,
you.
Thank you so
can you
much,
stay
guys.
for a bit?
Who's it?
Hi, Manish. It's my husband, Prashant.
Prashant. Hey, Prashant. I thought Hema has a different voice this time. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. Can you stay for a while? I just want to talk with you.
Yeah, I'm right now here. Yes. You want to talk like in person?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys want to, I think Prashant want to talk personally. So you guys can drop off if you guys want to drop off. Okay, I can stay on the call. Other folks can drop off. Are you okay with recording or should I stop recording, Prashant?
Yeah, you can stop recording, Manish.
I think I can stop. So if I click on this button, then it pauses recording. I think it stops.